Hello, everyone. Welcome to Word Funk. I am Leon Thomas. I am joined by Austin Yorsky and Johnny Maloney. Fellows, how are you? How are you in this post-Christmas season? The time between Christmas and New Year, where it's almost still the holidays, but it's not. It's the taint, really. It's the taint of the year. So, how are you feeling?
I would have been able to enjoy Christmas a lot more if I knew how you felt about The Last Jedi, but alas, that information has been lost to time, and now no one will ever know.
Yeah, no one could possibly just check my Twitter and see that I liked it. But in all seriousness, how are you guys feeling? Good or cold?
I don't know. I'm trying to leave spots for Johnny to jump in, but I'm not feeling him. He's not feeling very jumpy this week.
I'm sorry.
Right.
I had a shitty Christmas.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It wasn't good. I didn't like it, all the weeks leading up to it, I was just like, no, and then it finally arrived and a bunch of stuff went wrong. Like I didn't, normally Christmas is a pretty big deal for my family. Like my big extended family all gets together, but then there were children involved with flus. I don't know if that's, true, if it was more than one flu or if it was just several instances of the same flu. But so Christmas dinner, I'm in my ma's kitchen and we have mashed potatoes, carrot and turnip, both of which I am allergic to, and Brussels sprouts, which frankly are disgusting.
Really? You don't like Brussels sprouts? I think they're fine.
Abhor Brussels sprouts.
I'm cool with them so long as I can dip them in vinegar and then eat them.
Nope, not a chance. I mean,
What?
other things like Brussels sprouts, I'm down with.
Yeah.
Cabbage, which is basically just grandpa Brussels sprout.
Yeah.
Love it. It's great.
Yeah, I eat cabbage.
Fucking coleslaw, pickled cabbage on tacos. Man, now you're talking. Brussels sprouts, you can take that shit back home.
That's fine. More Brussels sprouts for me.
That's you eat them up, Leon. Have fun. Enjoy yourself. Go nuts. Mm-hmm. Go ham on Brussels sprouts, and I will go Brussels sprouts on ham.
There you go.
But so my Christmas dinner got all fucked up, and that was lame. And I wasn't sleeping for the whole thing. And it was icky. I normally like Christmas. Christmas is my jam usually because it's not like in a way where I get super Christmassy, like I dress up and put lights up and shit like that. But I'm like, oh shit, time to put on pajamas and do nothing and watch Big Trouble in Little China. But
the best Christmas movie.
Well, you can't prove it's not a Christmas movie.
Okay.
But this year it was all very time to put on some pajamas and watch Prince of Darkness, I guess.
Okay.
Which, don't get me wrong, I'm not slagging on Prince of Darkness. I'm a John Carpenter fan, and I like Prince of Darkness. I think it does some great things, but it was just more illustrative of the mood I was in.
Is The Thing John Carpenter's Christmas movie?
I think they're all.
It's cold.
I think they're all John Carpenter's Christmas movies.
Even Halloween? That doesn't sound right.
Halloween. Well, Austin,
Dude,
if you pay attention to how
is
quickly
the start of Christmas season.
If you pay attention to how quickly Christmas decorations come up on in the calendar wise area, then yes, Halloween could very possibly be a Christmas movie.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm no Christmasologist, so I can't dispute that, but it doesn't sound right to me, a Christmas layman.
Okay.
Well, after having acquired my 3-year degree in Christmasology from St. Nick University, I can tell you that there are deeper Christmas layers to Halloween than you may think.
St. Nick University, also known as SNU. Which is fun to say. I ate Chinese food and watched football. That was my Christmas. I don't do Christmas really, so
that's fine.
That's the whole thing. Sorry, I'm boring.
Yeah. No, you're good. I had a great Christmas. what did I do? Well, the actual day, I mostly relaxed and got a little work done. That's relaxing to me. And I think I watched Black Christmas, which is a good Christmas horror movie. It's not great.
Which Black Christmas?
The real one. Come on. No.
Look, Leon, I can't take it for granted. I can't take it for granted that you are watching purely for pleasure, or for some sort of work-related responsibility.
That's a good point.
And then B, I cannot determine whether or not this watching for pleasure thing is, because you've talked in the past about like the whole paradox of enjoying things ironically. But that still doesn't mean that you may not have like a favorite movie that's just so something.
Yeah.
Do you have a movie like that?
Where I think a movie is just a great big piece of shit, but I love it.
Zardoz? Is it Zardoz?
I've never seen Zardoz.
Barbarella, then.
Enough. I've seen Barbarella. I don't. You know what? When I watched it when I was young, I was like, "Wow, I shouldn't be watching this." That makes it neat. But I don't think I loved it.
Is it Flash?
You're gonna be so disappointed. I haven't seen that either.
Oh wow, Austin, help me out here.
How did your waveform look after you emitted that noise?
It looks really blocky. To tell you the truth, like it's pretty, there's a small divot, but
okay.
I was vocally warmed up. I've been singing this evening.
Oh, okay. I sang on Christmas Eve, oddly enough, because I went to church. I was bored. And I was curious. I kind of wanted to like get out. And I was like, "What do people do?"
Excuse me, you were so bored you found a religion?
No, I was actually
such ennui came over you that you were driven to Christ, our Lord and Savior.
And of all people, too, Leon. Like this is not something he's unfamiliar with.
Right. No, and I should be clear about this. I went to church. It was not a Christian church. It is because the Unitarian Universalists split from Christianity in the 60s, apparently.
I had an image all like queued up and ready to go, and was like, was it this church?
Yeah, I definitely thought it was going to be like, I went to Rome, it was a whole thing. This is worse than that time I was really hungry and I became a Muslim. It was just the wildest weekend. You never know. I got really horny once, and it became a Gnostic. These are just things that occur in my life.
Okay, no. Look, I when I say I was bored, I wasn't like lying in bed like, what am I going to do tonight? And then I snapped my fingers and I said church. I was thinking about Christmassy things to do on the lead up to Christmas, and that was a possibility, but it wasn't a big possibility for me because I'm not religious. And I don't really want to join, but I'm curious, So I felt like I would just go to the Unitarian Universalist church in my area. There are actually two. I went to the big one.
Nothing but the finest for Leon's. I don't know, but like, what's the religious equivalent of bi-curious?
So is it not the church that I just posted in the chat?
I'm gonna.
No,
look.
I saw that image going around. What is the source of that? Because
I have no idea. But
it's a building.
What is that?
A building that's shaped like a cross with Christ crucified on it, and it has the Greek letters above him, and it looks like really ominous. It looks like somewhere where you have to infiltrate in an Assassin's Creed game.
It's just a very normal church full of very normal people, Leon, who just really like Jesus.
Normally.
Okay. All right. In all seriousness, no, I was just curious because I read a lot about religions and things, as you might have guessed from my show, and this one struck me as odd because it is non-dogmatic in a lot of ways. It has
no dogs allowed.
It has beliefs.
Austin, no dogs that are not stick shift.
Okay, just it's pretty good.
That was really good. It's a slow burn, but I liked it.
Yeah. Okay. And let me try to explain this because I keep trying to, and then everyone keeps.
I keep thinking of jokes. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. You're good.
God forbid we entertain the audience. Jeez.
No,
Johnny and I are cursed with
You are,
comedic
Leon.
minds.
let me get my damn words out of my mouth hole. All right. So anyway, no, I'd been reading about different religions, and we mentioned I think we had a talk, like I think it was earlier this year or last year, like if you had to join a religion, what would it be? And the real answer for me is none. But if I had to, it would probably be this one because you can kind of do whatever you want. It's really good.
Yeah, Unitarians are pretty granola.
Yeah, Unitarian Universalism is leftist church. The church where I went, there was a gigantic Black Lives Matter banner hanging from on the outside, and the homily was about how we need to fund CHIP. So that's what church was like for me on Christmas Eve. It was actually very good. I don't know if we ever talked about Futurama on the show before, but I am assuming you guys have seen it. Mm-hmm. And there's the episode where they're looking for God, and they meet a reverend in the future religion, and the future religion is just all of the religions kind of mooshed into each other, which is what it seems like might just happen. That's what this church is like, because where the priest stands, there's like a little cross, but on the left of the cross is a circle with a menorah symbol in it, and on the left of that it's not the crescent Islam symbol, but it's something from Islam, and on the right of the cross is the Dharma wheel, and where am I getting this wrong? No, on the right of that was the Taoist symbol, the yin yang, and on the right of that was the other thing, the Dharma wheel. So that's what it was like going there. It was neat. I mean, it was Christmas Eve Mass, so obviously it was geared towards that, but I enjoyed it. The Reverend was nice, and he was funny. And we sang songs, and we lit a candle, and I was worried that I'd fuck it up, but I didn't. So that was good. Basically, it was just a nice, wholesome evening with like-minded people. I'm not going back. Maybe next Christmas. Maybe next I'll make that like a yearly thing if I still live in the area. I move around a lot. But yeah, it was okay. I'm not joining, but I sort of like I dig their style is what I'm trying to say.
But I mean that is the weakness of the non-dogmatic kind of practices, is without the carrot and stick approach of like go to heaven or go into the fiery lake. You don't feel obligated to keep going. That's a crucial part of the retention plan.
Yeah, that's fair, but it's the closest thing I'll ever come to something that's right up my alley.
I went to theater school with a Unitarian Universalist.
That's cool.
He was good at drawing.
Leon, tell me, on the way there, were you blasting "Take Me to Church"?
I was not.
Feels like a missed opportunity.
This is a great church. This is a great joke. But I still wasn't.
Okay.
That's it.
I
don't know if I have.
During that bit, I got really thirsty, and now I'm a Zoroastrian. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah. I see. In all seriousness, like all year, I've been thinking about just dropping by there, and then as Christmas approached, I was like, "This seems like the time." I'm joking about I was bored one night, and then. And then I decided to just go to the most boring thing possible, which is church. But no, I had a good time. If you're looking, if you don't have a religion but you're looking for one, you could do worse, is what I'm trying to say. And that's it. That's what I wanted to talk about. That I have other topics, but I feel like I've said like a lot in the early part of the show. So if someone else would like to take it, like go right ahead.
How do you feel about dark? I mean, bright.
Jesus.
Okay. All right. Well, we started that off badly, but I will definitly talk about Bright. Bright,
first of all, I want to say that Dark was really good. I don't know if either of you guys have seen Dark.
And they told us about
I only know of it that on Twitter you say that you like it.
Yes.
That's the only thing I know about it.
Yes, I do like it. It is a German Netflix television show.
Okay.
That I don't know. It's very much like a number of things, but like only in good ways.
Oh,
like it reminds me a little bit of Donnie Darko, but only in a good way.
Okay.
It also reminds me of Primer, but only in a good way. Even though I love Primer, I understand some people's gripes with it. But and it reminds me. What else did it remind me of? It reminded me of Stephen King, but only in a good way.
I'm glad.
And it's really good. I really enjoy it. Like I was a little that's not the word. I've got a word in my head now, and that's not the one I need.
Right.
I was worried that it wasn't going to earn its second season, because it looks like it's going to get a second season, but it really super, does, and there's some... It's really dense. Like, I want to watch it again now, knowing what I know. I don't want to, muck too much about it, but it is... I mean, I've already said it's like Primer and Donnie Darko, so there is time travel involved.
I assumed when you mentioned those two things.
But it's it's mysterious and charismatic and just neat. And I watched it in the original German, which I suggest that people do, because that's just how you should do things. And yeah, there's I don't know, it has gravitas. It's got a real yeah, it was so good. Not Bright at all.
No, Bright was terrible. I will talk about the bad thing. Narratively, Bright is a movie about thousands of years ago. The Middle Earth War more or less happened between orcs and humans and all kinds of other mystical creatures. But now it's just the modern times, and orcs and other creatures are just still around, and they all have to coexist, and that doesn't always work. Now, in tone and the feeling and the themes of the film, Bright is a movie about racism made by people who probably use the All Lives Matter hashtag. It's like they admit that racism exists but don't recognize power structures and think that minorities are just complaining, and that so-called reverse racism holds just as much power in society. And
that if you toe the line and you're just a good little orc, then you can distinguish yourself.
Yeah, they really did a thing with Jacoby, the orc, where they did the thing that you're not supposed to say.
Which in fairness, I just want to say right here that Joel Edgerton's performance was pretty good.
Yeah. Oh no. His performance was fine, and I'm really glad that he was under a lot of makeup and people don't recognize him in this movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, the movie does this sort of thing where the orc cop is one of the good ones. That thing that lingers within sort of racist minds, where they say, "Well, I don't hate all because is my friend." The minorities of the film are portrayed quite literally as monsters, and just when it seems like the movie might pivot to dissect police corruption and police complicity, related to the topic, the hero racist cop Will Smith and the orc cop are attacked by this just endless barrage of not only monsters, but also human racial stereotypes and the very fantasy monsters that the film tries to say are oppressed, but not really. It has this narrative dissonance problem where it says one thing but portrays another, and it's just completely tone deaf about it.
It thinks it's so clever.
Yeah, it's a Max Landis movie.
So clever.
There was that viral post of Max Landis is going around of him saying, "I think this is my Star Wars," and it's just "Hey, dog, that's the premise of Shadowrun. That's a 37-year-old. You didn't come up with it, and you didn't even do a good job of the thing that already exists."
Yeah, Max Landis wrote this movie. It was directed by David Ayer, famous director of Suicide Squad. So that's
for all
terrible
for all the wrong reasons, famous director of Suicide Squad.
Yeah, they're this combination is just awful. But it has sort of Suicide Squad-ish qualities, because Deadshot and the guard who hates Deadshot are also in this movie, and they are both cops. And I don't know. The climax of the movie is Will Smith in a glowing blue room fighting like an evil magic lady and reaching for the big magic MacGuffin thing, which is the same climax as Suicide Squad. There just isn't a swirling trash ball in the sky. It's the same thing. Will Smith ends up being the chosen one. The super cop who is racist against orcs is the special instead of, say, the orc. It's just I took notes because I trying to remember all the things that are bad about it. It has the worst bait and switch moment like of the year. Jacoby, the orc, he's murdered by another orc, and less than a minute later he is magically resurrected. It's just this big emotional moment. They're like, oh, wow. I mean, I thought they were getting a sequel. And then immediately it switched up like seconds later. It's like, really? Like, he couldn't have died. And then like 15 minutes later, he's resurrected at the end. But no, he's just like, he's dead. And it's like everything goes into slow-mo, sad moment, mode. And then he just, no, he's back. It's fine. Everything's fine. It's fine.
I mean, we all knew it was going to happen.
Look, but the whiplash of it.
Yeah, no,
like,
like I agree with you. So it's sort of like, okay, well, let's just do this thing, but they know it's gonna happen, so we might as well just get it over with. It's just, it's like it's like script writing by focus group.
Except it's not a focus group. It's Max Landis, who already has a reputation.
Landis, who, like the last time I think we talked about, the last time we talked about Max Landis on this podcast, I said that I have complicated feelings about Max Landis. They are getting less and less complicated.
Yeah, Max Landis wrote this, and you can tell because it doesn't treat women well. There are not great roles for women in this movie. There is a woman cop who has like a few lines, and then Will Smith murders her. And
yeah, but
there
she's bad.
Yeah, she sure is. There are like two strippers who get murdered, and there is like
but they chose that life.
but there's like an elf ninja who has like no lines or something, and then there's the
but she's bad.
Yeah, and the and I'm like the biggest finger quotes female lead of the movie is silent for the first 75% of the movie. Like, she doesn't have any lines, and then when she does, she doesn't have very many. She's just pretty.
But that's really easy to like interpret.
Here's the thing about David Ayer that I noticed when I was doing like only even cursory research on him when I had to do the Suicide Squad video.
I'll bet he's hairier than he pretends to be.
Oh my god. The thing he's I hate to say it, but he has a cohesive oeuvre because nearly all of his movies are about the police or the military, and they're always like in the right, more or less. But also, right, in a very like buck the system kind of way. Yeah,
in a like be the system, but don't,
Yeah.
Training Day, fucking Suicide Squad. What was that other fucking one that he did? That.
But Johnny, haven't you heard? Conservatism is the new punk.
Oh yes,
yes. That's what his movies feel like. That's exactly it. Thank you.
If only we could just shed the bureaucracy and get some actual justice done.
Yeah.
Boom.
What if the status quo, but with violent white men?
so yeah.
Or in this case, violent black men that white men are okay with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a cop fetishist. Will Smith is in this movie, and as I was watching it, I posed the question to Twitter, and I said, like, when was the last time Will Smith has been in a really good movie? And I think someone said Hancock. I have never seen that.
My friend, yes, because the person who replied, I believe he said the first 30 minutes of Hancock.
Okay. I haven't seen it. Even if it was good, that was like a decade ago. I'm not trying to like shit on Will Smith because he's probably a decent guy and everything like that. I'm not trying to say like, oh, Will Smith isn't as cool anymore. I'm just saying that I wish he were, because he's a very likable and sort of natural kind of actor.
He's
he's
charismatic.
He really is, and I want to see him in good things, and he keeps not doing that.
I don't know if he has a bad agent or no artistic ambition, but he has definitely buried his charisma under 1,000 bad scripts. So
yeah,
I don't know if it's him necessarily, but he's playing this like acceptable black man role in it. There's all these people who've written like long essays about like how he can date white women in movies, or at least Latina, because white men don't find it threatening for some reason. I mean, people with a more academic background in like race relations and stuff can definitely put that more eloquently than I did. But there is this sense of that he's like safe. I don't know if you guys saw the O.J. Simpson documentary, where O.J., I mean, he said this in real life, so it's not even just from the documentary. That's just where it's in the consciousness, where he said, "I'm not black, I'm O.J." And it's because he reached a level of like wealth and power where he was like the only black person at the country club. And I feel like Hollywood treats Will Smith that way, whether or not he wants to be, or like I don't know his agency in this, but it feels like white audiences like Will Smith, so that he is like the one they put forward. Like he can carry a blockbuster that isn't like quote unquote urban.
All right, we're gonna do a lightning round here because I'm on Will Smith's IMDb page.
Okay.
All right, and previous to Bright, we're gonna run down titles, and I want one-word descriptors if you've seen it. Okay. All right, so here we go. Collateral Beauty, Austin.
Haven't.
Leon.
Poop.
Suicide Squad, Austin.
No.
Leon.
Shit.
Concussion, Austin.
No.
Leon.
Nah.
Focus, Austin.
No.
Leon.
What?
I don't know. It's a movie called Focus.
No, that was my word.
All right. Winter's Tale, Austin.
No.
Leon.
Haven't.
I'm going to skip by Anchorman 2, The Legend Continues, because his role in this was literally ESPN reporter.
Yeah, I think it's a cameo.
Okay.
After Earth, Austin.
Balls.
Leon.
Wretched.
Men in Black 3, Austin.
No.
Leon.
No.
7 Pounds, Austin.
Lol.
Leon.
No.
Hancock, Austin.
A little bit.
Leon.
That's 3 words. But
minute.
You're fine. It doesn't matter.
Well, hyphenate
haven't.
that. Little bit. And Leon, you haven't seen Hancock, have you?
Nah.
All right. I Am Legend, Austin.
Okay.
Leon.
Yeah, I agree.
Except for the ending?
Yeah.
Is that like,
basically.
Yeah.
Is that where we're coming from here?
It was fine. It was fine.
Okay, so we'll go with that, okay? We'll go with that. I Am Legend came out in 2007.
Okay, so it's been 10 years since he's been in something that most people kind of liked.
That's a dry-ass spell, son.
It's a shame.
Especially for a guy as charismatic as Will Smith.
Yeah. You would think he would just be in all the good shit, and then he is not. It's a shame. But you know what? I bet he's, maybe, and I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to give him a hard time, but maybe he's at a point in his career where it's just like, I'm just going to have fun and
That's
go on
the
a
thing.
set
They're
and,
not fun. I could understand if he was just like, I'm just going to do a bunch of art house movies or something, but he's like not in anything like challenging. He's not putting himself in, it's not even like a sellout position because these aren't like Transformers. Like who's going to go see Concussion or Focus? Like no one cares. So he's not selling out, but he's also not doing anything like weird and risky. He's just in boring dreck.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing. I'd understand if he sold out. I'd understand if he was just like, I'm just gonna be a serious artist. And I'd understand if he was just like, oh, I have a family now, I'm gonna do kids movies, like Eddie Murphy did that. That's fine. I don't like any of those, but it's an understandable direction. He has no discernible direction as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're straying from Max Landis, who I think is really what I want to talk about, because I haven't seen this movie, full disclosure, because Netflix doesn't count the views, ironically, so they wouldn't know whether or not I'm trying to support this thing. But
Yeah.
Max Landis.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Like before but just real quick about that. I feel you on that, where you were like, I refuse to watch this because I refuse to give this life. But here's the thing: they announced the sequel before it was even released, so it was like, it's over. I might as well click on it.
Okay, but I feel like if everybody just stuck by their guns, maybe we wouldn't have a Bright 2. Anyway, my point is, I think it's obvious that Max Landis only gets to write movies because his dad is John Landis. Whatever. There are people who have gotten into positions of nepotism and done well or done good work. I kind of stuck up for American Ultra script a little bit, although I kind of feel bad about that now. He seems...
I don't think he's a total waste of a screenwriter. I don't.
Yeah, he seems like someone who would be like moderately talented, and if he wasn't John Landis' son, maybe would do some interesting work in like the indie scene, or like make YouTube videos or something, right? Like he's a perfectly like adequate writer, not doing big Hollywood stuff. There's no reason he should have have his own Netflix series. Is that out of line to say?
No, that's fair. There are moments in Bright where it's like, oh, that's a clever quip, and that's a very Max Landis thing that just happened. But the problem is that in Max Landis's work, he's and I mean this will happen to any writer who puts himself into his work. His shitty worldview and opinions on things just kind of bleed into it. And that's fine. Like my opinions bleed into my work too. It's okay. But his are just bad.
His opinions are name your production company, trigger warning, and have a all lives matter joke, which I've seen screen caps of. Like he is neoliberalism.jpg. Like that's his lifestyle, and it's garbage.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm not a fan of the man. I don't want to. Basically, like. There are a lot of people who, like, writers I don't like or directors I don't like, where I would be cool sitting next to them at a dinner.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Clint Eastwood is my go-to, where I'm like, I disagree with all of his politics. He does interesting art, and I bet on some level he's a perfectly decent person.
Yeah. And further than that, I have very little moral qualms about paying money to see a Clint Eastwood movie.
Yeah, to my knowledge, he doesn't give it to like organizations that torture LGBT youth or something.
Yeah, but like when you're dealing with a character like Max Landis, whose personal views or politics or whatever you want to call them are inseparable from the work he puts out. Yeah. Where it's like, come watch my movie. It's like we're having a conversation. I'm like, I don't really want to talk to you anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Chance the Rapper actually went off on Bright on Twitter earlier today. I talk about this guy a lot. He's just one of the best musicians of our time and just an amazing person. He gives millions of dollars to like Chicago public school systems. He's phenomenal. I would recommend just reading his feed because he talks about Bright better than I could, even if I had seen the movie. So there's that. Just the way that just putting fantasy creatures in as minority metaphors never fucking works because minorities can't bend steel with their bare hands or shoot fire. It's like the classic X-Men problem where it's a bad allegory.
Quick aside, Austin.
Yeah.
Quick aside. What's his best album?
Coloring Book.
All right.
Yeah, that's the last one.
I assume that's spelled the weird American way?
Yes, I believe so.
All right, thanks.
So yeah, there's that. It's just a bad allegory to start with, and even if it wasn't, like I said, Shadowrun did it before. Also, Dice Funk Season 4 is that. It's what if fantasy happened, but then cars were invented. So like, you can do it, and you could also just like hire queer people and like work with women, which is what my show. I guess this is like self-congratulatory. Sorry,
that's fine.
But like,
that's fine.
There are a few other people who are doing this, and it's not just people who were born rich and are Max Landis, who's like, oh, not all cops are bad. Like, yeah, wow, no one had ever said that before. Bold statement.
We really know that, Max.
Really makes you think.
Yeah, but that I always just like that when someone says, oh, these cops are doing these terrible things, and then someone says, well, not all cops are bad. And it's like, yeah, but like there's so many though, and there's enough that it's a problem, and the problem is not about individual cops so much as it's about a system. That is the issue.
That's so obvious and fundamental. I'm insulted that you had to explain that. It feels
I know. I'm not
explaining it.
I'm
definitely not explaining it to you. I'm explaining it to like people who bring this up.
I know.
Yeah, but I mean, Leon, not all kids are allergic to peanut. Look, only a few of them have terrible reactions and die from them just being nearby. So can we please stop blaming the peanuts?
Okay. There's nothing to be gained here. Even if Bright would have been a better movie, I don't know if I would watch it just because the premise is kind of squicky. The whole like the thing you outlined, Leon. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna watch any more Max Landis stuff. There was a part of me that was like, maybe he'll develop. There was little bits in there that I thought might be interesting, and I don't know. I think I'm done.
All I know is he's obviously never rolled a D&D character. And as far as I'm concerned, that should completely disqualify you from writing any kind of fantasy movie.
I have half watched Victor Frankenstein about 12 times, but it is not for the reason you'd think. Whenever I'm
Is Victor Frankenstein the one with fucking what's his name?
Daniel Radcliffe and the
Kenneth Branagh?
No. That's young Frank. That's not young Frank.
That's
Frankenstein. That's Frank.
I would watch that movie.
I was trying to say that's earlier Frankenstein,
Right,
but I said younger Frankenstein. That's the worst way I could have said that.
Yeah,
that's just Mary Shelley's Frankenstein from a million years
Victor
ago.
Frankenstein's the one that I can't remember what's his name is. The guy from that Batman movie. No?
What?
Nobody?
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry.
The guy who plays Two-Face. I can't remember his name. In the second...
Oh, Aaron Eckhart.
Thank you. Is that the movie you're talking about?
No, that's I Frankenstein. There's so many of these. Victor Frankenstein.
All right, Leon, you're losing me. You better close this one quick.
Oh my God, Victor Frankenstein stars Daniel Radcliffe as Igor and James McAvoy as Victor Frankenstein, and they try to make a Frankenstein. The thing is,
yeah, I never saw that one.
No, it's fine. I have technically not seen it either, but every time I have to go get a medical procedure done, they play that while we wait, and I've just seen. Because look, it's not just that. There's a bunch of them, but I've seen it. But they play that one a lot, and it's just a DVD that they have.
Oh, okay, so they don't just like loop all the Frankenstein movies then?
No, just that one. Just Victor Frankenstein, written by Max Landis and directed by someone I don't remember.
What other movies do they play? I'm curious now.
Recently they played, I couldn't remember what it was, so I had to look it up by the description of what was happening. It's, Great Outdoors, John Candy and, Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah, that was a good one.
There's a scene in that movie that fucking caused an incident in my household. We were all laughing so hard. Things got broken. I can't remember exactly how it went, but there's a part where Chris Farley gets like savaged by an eagle or something. And I just remember it was like a whole, it like brought everything to a screeching halt because like there were consequences.
Are we talking about the same movie?
I don't think so.
What's the movie are we talking about now?
The Great Outdoors was made in 1988 before Chris Farley was doing a lot.
Okay. What am I thinking about then? This
Tommy
is going to be
Boy?
a fun Google. No, hold on.
Yeah, now I just have to know if there's a similar movie starring Chris Farley.
Yeah. Am I thinking of... Well, let me look at the one you're like... This is going to be unlistenable because we're all Googling
No, I know, but we're definitely doing it.
Yeah.
Almost... Do you mean Almost Heroes?
That might be it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's-
It's a movie where they're outdoors the whole time, though.
Yeah, that is it.
Okay.
We're done. It's fine. It's fine. I said Young Frankenstein earlier, so it like I have no credibility in this. Okay.
Yes,
so,
this is it. This is also Matthew Perry and Chris Farley in this movie. Yes, Almost Heroes.
Yeah.
This is it.
So not the Frankenstein Chronicles, then.
Oh my God.
I think The Great Outdoors is a better name for Almost Heroes than Almost Heroes because they're in the Great Outdoors the entire movie.
Yeah, but Austin,
well.
they already made a movie called The Great Outdoors.
You look. I feel like that's.
You could take a page from Twitter and call it The Great Outdoors 420 Vape 795.
Oh my God, Almost
Okay.
Heroes has an 8% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, that's a shame.
I don't know. I feel like none of Chris Farley's stuff got the reception it deserved. But like, what does Tommy Boy have on Rotten Tomatoes? That movie fucking rules.
43%.
Eat my dick.
I remember liking that when I was young, but I don't know how I feel about it now.
Tommy Boy is the best.
Yeah, but here's the weird thing. Comedy ages worse than any other genre.
Oh, absolutely.
Our perception of what we think is funny just change for whatever reason changes very, very quickly.
Not Chris Farley's. He's timeless.
Okay, what I'm trying to say is that
So Beverly Hills Ninja is timeless, Austin?
Every frame that Chris Farley is in.
Sure. Comedy movies rarely make me laugh, but like a really dumb 6-minute clip of something, and I'm rolling. So that's just, I don't know. That's just kind of the way comedy, I don't want to say evolves. Let's just say changes.
I've seen Black Sheep multiple times. There's no way you could argue me out of Chris Farley love. That's just a losing contest.
This is a weird weakness in you that I would not have pegged.
I'm just bearing my heart and soul now.
Okay. So, this was an interesting conversation that went off in a lot of different directions.
But we can all agree that
yeah.
Max Landis is a douche.
At least he wants you to think that, judging by his social media feed. Maybe he's actually a very sensitive soul who has much more progressive views, but he thinks something profit? I don't know. Who knows?
It's good for my brand.
Can one man know another man's heart? It's not for us to say.
I could.
Nah, he's shit. All right,
If you
so
get me close enough, Austin,
Okay. Well, this is taking on a threatening tone.
I could know his heart.
okay. I had one more thing. Well, I have a bunch of things, but this is the thing we absolutely have to talk about this week, or it's going to be very old news next week. Friend of the show, Daddy Jack Shatter.
I forgot about this.
He's still with Papa John's, but he's been removed as CEO. He's still on the board.
Devastating
He's-
news.
He's still on the board, which means, he's obviously going to still make a lot of money from Papa John's and never buy from Papa John's.
Yep.
But
Somebody got in that car and drove it away.
He's been deposed. So I guess, I don't know. I don't know who becomes CEO. Who is an evil...
It's the Papa John's deep state now. We've taken out the figurehead, but behind the
Papa
scenes.
John's shadow government?
Yeah, absolutely.
The only food man who is evil enough to take Papa John's place is Jimmy John, oddly enough.
I thought you were going to say Jonathan Chick-fil-A, which is...
Oh
Of the
God.
Newport Chick-fil-A's?
Yes, of course.
So congratulations to Jimmy John ISIS. You are now, the front runner, I would say, to run Papa John's. Good for you. You don't even have to change the name. So yeah, I just wanted to get that out real quick. I have a couple other things, but like I said, I feel like I've been talking a lot. And we haven't heard any of Austin's topics, so
We have been egging you on a little bit, Leon, tonight. Let's be honest. So
it's fine. It's all good.
what do you got? What do you got, Austin?
I just want to say, though, even though it's probably not true, it is canon for the show's mythology that we were directly responsible for deposing Papa John. It was
Oh, absolutely.
it was our epic birds.
That is very
Yeah.
deeply established in our lore.
You cannot talk me out of believing that.
During the Great Pizza Wars of 2017.
So much great sauce was lost. Okay, so my topics comes from my brother has this holiday season off, like 2 or 3 weeks, and he has no idea what to do with himself because he basically works all day every day. And so we picked up a Nintendo Switch. So,
That's neat.
So he could have something to do over this weeks. We picked up Super Mario Odyssey and Zelda Breath of the Wild. And I have not played Zelda yet, but when we got home, he set up the Switch, he popped Zelda in, and he played it for 13 hours straight.
I was gonna say, son, that's like you know, speaking from somebody who doesn't wade in the Nintendo Ocean, but like sits on the beach and goes, "God, it's a lovely day." That's a lot of good game.
Yeah, 2017, as we've discussed, one of the best years for video games of all time, if not the best, and Nintendo in particular. There is a new best 3D Zelda. There is a new best 3D Mario. They had a really cracking Metroid remake. They have like multiple Fire Emblem games, a new Pokemon game. It's chock-a-block with Nintendo value.
What Metroid remake are you talking about?
Samus Returns is a remake of Metroid 2.
Yeah, but that wasn't really them, you know.
Well, yes, it was developed by Mercury Steam, the Castlevania people.
But they kind of let it happen.
They signed off on it.
That was sort of like, you know, in one sense, it's like it was sort of cool in Nintendo, where it was like they must have known beforehand.
Although
they released it, and Nintendo was like, "Oh, you kids, you probably shouldn't have that on the internet on this one site because if you take it down, it's not going to be anywhere else."
Are you confusing deliberately the Samus Returns with AM2R? Because that was okay. That's the joke. Okay, so there have been several Metroid 2 remakes recently. This is the one that Nintendo greenlit, and by all accounts is very good. But not So there's it's just,
but another Metroid 2 remake was pretty fucking killer too.
Yeah, they're all. I mean, all of the Metroid 2 remakes have reviewed very well, and all the ones inspired by Metroid.
I guess Metroid 2 was a good game.
No, actually, unplayable.
I never played it.
Not a joke. No, it's a Game Boy game. It's absolutely unplayable. The music is unlistenable. The graphics melt your eyes. It's very bad. It's actually why it was a prime remake candidate, because the basic blueprint of it had potential, but none of the game that existed was good or fun. So
good for them.
Yeah, it's very cool. But I haven't actually played Samus Returns yet, or any of the other wonderful Nintendo games. The Mario Rabbids game is supposedly really good. There's just ARMS, Splatoon 2. I could go on. It's Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I am going on. The one I actually played was Super Mario Odyssey, which is the game I've been waiting for, I don't know, 15 years? How long?
A lot of years.
Since Super Mario 64. It's really the first good successor to Mario 64. I don't count Sunshine, not because it's bad. It's okay, but it's also a very different thing with the jetpack and so forth. It doesn't feel like a sequel. And neither do the Galaxy games, which were phenomenal, but also kind of their own thing. And there's been a ton of great Mario games after 64, but none that felt like a true successor, and Mario Odyssey does. It is a bunch of big, wide-open levels full of stuff to explore. It's like 12 different sandboxes, essentially. Each one so crammed, rammed full of stuff. It borders on, too much sometimes. In the original game, or I say original game, Mario 64, there were 6 stars per level. In this game, there are 70 in some of them. It is preposterous just how much content is in this game, and there are a bunch of just jaw-dropping moments, new iconic for all of video game history moments in this, half a dozen. The soundtrack is killer. The visuals are unparalleled. The Switch feels great to use. It's an amazing system, amazing games for it. I don't have anything really negative to say. Maybe except there's a couple of mini games that I think are too hard for their own good. I don't know if I'm ever actually going to get the 100 jump rope moon, but that's more of a Austin doesn't have the reflexes anymore, more than it is Mario's fault. Mario's a good boy. He did his best. But Mario Odyssey is just, if I was a kid when this came out, it would be life defining the way that 64 was for me. and I'm floored that they did it. Like, they just did the damn thing.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's
sweet.
It's Mario. Yeah, like, I don't know what, even though you guys haven't played it, so there's not much you could add. Like, I don't know what rebuttal there even could be. Be like, yes, Austin, it is fun. Like, it's very Mario.
That's what I hear.
So I think when I play Zelda, I'll have more complex thoughts, because that's a game with a lot of interlocking systems. Mario is just like run, jump, explore, capture things with your hat. It's simple, right? Like chess or something, where it's just like, here are the rules, do the thing. Zelda feels like an infinitely, like fractally, exponentially complicated machinery that I'm really excited to delve into. So Mario fucking rules. The Switch is great. I'm excited to play more games for it. I did play one other thing, though. Another very long game. I didn't even watch anything this week, like no movies or TV or anything, because I've just been playing Mario in this other game. Did anybody else want to jump in here with the topic before I get this other one? Because it's long, too.
I started watching Mindhunter.
I've heard of that. It's like CSI, like one of those shows?
It is a fictionalization of the FBI sort of special behaviors unit that is tasked with, or at least spearheads, the movement to profile serial killers. Pathological killers.
Yeah.
It is a very interesting drama. And not, like I had suspected, a sequel to Mind Freak. I didn't really think that. Okay. That was a bad joke.
I was going to ask if it's better or worse than Dangerous Minds. Isn't that a different show?
It is a different show, but I've not watched it.
I think it has the same premise. There's a lot of those.
It's very good though. The cast is spectacular, and the production values are swell.
What was it like recommended to you? What spurred you on? Because there's a ton
it was
those.
Actually there's a guy at my work who is our tastes interlap, but not like, I don't know. It's a really awkward circle graph. Whatever the fuck, I can't remember what that
Venn diagram with just
Venn
like
diagram.
a little crescent in the middle.
Yeah. Thank you for still being a student and knowing about these things. Because we'll enthuse about things, like when the first season of Stranger Things came out, we were like, this is great! But then when I told him to go see Blade Runner 2049, he came back and he was like, I was bored. Mm-hmm. I was like, what? Did you like the first movie? He's like, yeah, it's one of the best sci-fi movies of all time. I was like, go home!
That's weird. They're so similar.
I could not for the life of me figure it out. I spent like 20 minutes interrogating him about what the hell was going on with him. But he was like, I don't know, I didn't get into the plot, the characters, and like, there was so little world building. I was like, did you see the first movie? But anyways, yeah, he was like, yeah, I've been watching the show Mindhunter, and it's really, really good. I was like, okay, I'll give it a watch. And yeah, it's very well acted and just superbly set up. And yeah, it's tense and interesting. And like, as far as, like crime procedural goes, because it's not really a crime procedural, because it's not like, at the beginning of every episode, somebody doesn't get like poked in the eye and someone doesn't say, I bet he didn't see that one coming. Oh. It's more about the creation of like the department, and about how these like two guys in the FBI kind of got together and were going around and like teaching police departments about this sort of like new wave of killers that was happening in the wake of Charles Manson and Son of Sam and stuff like that, where they were like, hey, guess what, like all your crime solving methods that are like, oh, motive means an opportunity, are not gonna hack it. And then sort of like over time how they develop this base of knowledge and what is initially at least, disrespected in the FBI as being like, you can't give these psychos attention. You can't sit down and talk to them and pretend to be their friend. What will they think of the FBI when they hear that we've been interviewing these depraved individuals? Yeah, so it's, I quite like it. I am enjoying it. Anyways, but that aside, unless, Leon, unless you've seen it and you want to say something.
Nope, not at all.
All right.
I have seen Paul F. Tompkins make fun of it on Twitter.
I'm okay with that, because Paul F. Tompkins is hilarious.
Yeah, it was great. But that's all I know of it.
Then, Austin, please continue.
Okie dokie then. The other video game I played this week that I really want to talk about is Horizon Zero Dawn. Are you guys aware? Mm-hmm. So also,
it's one of those rare titles where I'm like, I should buy a console.
Yeah, it's the robot dinosaur game is how most people know it. I've been anticipating it for actually a couple years now. I remember like putting it on most anticipated lists back when I worked at BT, which feels like just decades ago. But so it's an open world, third person shooter stealth game, Deus Ex style, but with robot dinosaurs. The thing that's very surprising to me was that although it has robot dinosaurs, it's not really about them that much. I found it out later when I watched a documentary about the making of this game on YouTube. No Clip. I've talked about before. They make video game documentaries that are very, very good, like well researched, in-depth kind of things. The one they did on Horizon, which is spoiler free. I recommend watching it even if you don't really care about the game that much. If you're just interested in video game history and stuff. They talked about how when they made the Killzone games, because this is Guerrilla Games. Everybody remembers that they made the Killzone games, and they had all these cutting edge visuals, and they had this really misleading E3 trailer that kind of made them infamous. And when they switched to Horizon, going from a linear first person shooter to an open world third person stealth game, it was like a really weird swerve. And in this documentary, they explored how like they didn't have a writer on staff during the Killzone games, which A, explains a lot, and B, really brought in like how seriously they were taking Horizon when they went out and got the guy who wrote Fallout New Vegas, which totally shows in Horizon.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been woed.
The writer of New Vegas?
Well, one of them. There's obviously many, but...
Yeah. Okay, which one?
So I knew you were going to ask, and I should have had it pulled up. And here I go. Jesus, where is it? Johnny, you do some Googling around because...
Okay, you continue on. I'll check it out.
Yeah. So in this documentary, they talked about how they brought this guy on and how he basically brought a lot of what he did to New Vegas here, which is all these factions. If you remember, New Vegas had like the Caesar's Legion and there's other, it's about like these different individual cultures, and that's what Horizon really has at its core. Is like there's the kind of Native American coded people, and then there's like the Aztec coded people, and there's like the Inuit coded people, and they all have like these really well developed cultures and religions and all this stuff, and there's like robot dinosaurs around them, and they're fun to fight, but it's actually not what most of the game is really about. And I just dug the hell out of it. It was like really absorbing and fun and interesting. Like the main plot, the capital S.
Quick intercession here. John Gonzalez, also known as an additional writer for Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor.
Ooh, the good one.
Yeah.
Good, because Shadow of War I haven't played yet, but I've heard is a pretty big disappointment on that front. So on Horizon...
But he was lead writer on New Vegas, so
he did
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. So Horizon. The capital S story isn't that much to write home about, although it did trigger a really interesting phenomena that I've always been wanting to talk about on this show and never found a good way to bring it up, and now here it is. Because the weirdest thing happened when my brother played the game Prototype. Do you guys remember that? It was like the premise was like there was this virus the guy gets infected with.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember Prototype. That was almost a Hulk game.
Yeah, it actually runs on the Hulk engine. It's it's the same people.
Radical Entertainment, which now have like 3 people employed for them.
I think they make
and every time I
games.
pass their offices on the SkyTrain station, I'm like, you guys deserved better.
So the premise of Prototype was this guy gets infected with this virus, which gives him like superpowers and lets him absorb other people. When he absorbs them, he gets their memories and abilities. This game's like 10 years old, so I'm going to spoil the end of the first Prototype. Skip ahead 20 seconds if you don't want to hear that. In the end of Prototype, it turns out that the character you thought you were playing as, you aren't. You're actually the virus, and the person you thought you were playing as was just the first person the virus absorbed. And so you just got their abilities and memories because that's how the virus works. And that's supposed to be like the big shocking twist, is that you were the virus the whole time, and all the people, including the main character you thought you were just its food. But my brother was playing it, and that was his assumption from the beginning. He thought that was the premise of the game, and so he was flabbergasted when that twist was revealed because he thought that's what was happening the whole time. And I had never encountered that in someone interacting with fiction, where it was like, I see dead people, and they're like, yeah, of course you do. You're Bruce Willis, the Ghost Whisperer. Like I'd never seen something like that, and Horizon Zero Dawn was that for me. Like before I played this game, I was like, yeah, it's the game with the robot dinosaurs because X, and I just assumed X, and so when the plot reveals X, I was really confused because I thought that was like, I didn't read the back of the box, but I assumed it was there, and it was a very weird thing for me. But that's not an indictment of the game. It's a very fun game, and I could do like a whole bunch of content about this if I still ran a video game website. It's a very like dense game, but I know Leon would literally die if I talked about a video game for that long. But
it's okay.
I played it for like I beat it and did most of the quests, like everything but like the fetch quests basically, and took like 35 hours. So it's a pretty decently long game. It has like RPG quality writing in a AAA action package. It's absolutely gorgeous, like jaw-droppingly so. And it just has a lot of charm. The main character, Aloy, is played by Ashley Birch, who...
Love her!
Who, yeah, she's like a huge name now. She started on like YouTube. She's like, I don't know, it's a really feel-good story of like someone who's kind of just like us and is now like one of the leading ladies of video games. Absolutely steals the show. Aloy is such a full package protagonist. Video games never do this, where she's like funny but not like smarmy, and she's like heroic but not a goody two shoes, and she's like strong and confident, but she never gets like half naked for no reason. My dad was watching my brother play it, and he was like, "Huh, she's not objectified at all. That's weird." It just hadn't like occurred to him that video games could do that. It's just like she rules, and I going into it, I assumed she'd be like either like a Kratos or like a Nathan Drake, right? Like that most video game characters are either Kratos or Nathan Drake, or just rage or just snark. And she has like she's like complex and like fully developed, and it's wonderful. And like all the dinosaurs are pretty fun to fight, and there's a really satisfying difficulty curve where at the beginning they're incredibly dangerous and threatening, like almost like Dark Souls, but by the end you've got like a fully kitted out RPG character and you're owning these dudes, and it feels great. So it's just, I have so many nice things to say about so many video games this year. Everything is just, if you ignore literally the rest of the entire world, 2017 ruled as far as video games go.
Do you know what is a fantastic video game? And this is all I'm going to say about it.
I'm really excited to hear.
What Remains of Edith Finch?
Oh, yeah, it's on the wish list. Oh, yeah, I'm ready. I've heard.
It's excellent.
I was actually looking at my Steam wish list before we started this call, just because the PS Plus free games came out, and it was Deus Ex. And I was going to take that off the wish list, and I noticed I had like 64 games on the wish list or something. It's like, oh my god, I'm never... Like, that's like an old hat. Like, oh, I have so many games on Steam, but like, I thought I had taken kind of a break from playing video games with law school and everything, and I thought I wouldn't feel this compulsion to jump back in, but I do. I want to use this entire break and do nothing but play video games.
Do it, man. Give it to yourself. You've earned it.
Have I, though?
I love you.
Thank you, Johnny. I needed that. I needed to hear that.
we should probably get into questions since we're at that time.
Oh man, we had stuff to talk about today.
Yeah.
I had like a bunch of other things that I didn't even get to, but I can just always push them back. I just want to say one quick thing before we jump into questions. So let's take 1 minute. During the filming of Black Sheep, Austin,
You were just on IMDb this whole time?
the combination of bright lights on set and working under sunlight caused permanent damage to David Spade's eyes.
Oh my.
So this film was not worth it, is what I'm just trying to say.
Listen, David Spade is a real artist, all right? He put his body on the line for his art.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of his.
What? Joe Dirt 2 didn't do it for you?
I mean like as a person.
Oh, I don't know anything
okay.
about him. Is he bad?
Yeah, a little. All right, we can jump into questions though.
Oh man, I didn't want to learn that. Now I can't watch Joe Dirt anymore. You know how much I love that movie. I told you guys the story about that. I went to school with someone in high school who watched Joe Dirt every day.
Yeah.
Every day,
Yeah.
That movie has been burned into my brain because of that. Okay, let's look up some questions. Here's one for Johnny. Jessica Sims asks, what are some of Johnny's favorite cooking shows? Hannibal.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I think I have been recorded saying that Hannibal is the best cooking show I've ever seen. Oh, that's so, like... the problem that I have with cooking shows these days are that they've realized that they're kind of popular, which means that now they're sort of flashy. And I don't like competitive ones. I don't like Chopped, and I don't like fucking, I watch Hell's Kitchen, but just when I need to turn my brain off. There used to be this cooking show on Canadian TV. I can't remember what it was called. Where it was like people who could not cook got thrown into a kitchen, and then professional chefs were put in soundproof studios away from them, and a dish was revealed, and for like 90 minutes these chefs had to instruct these people who did not know how to cook how to make this dish. And I quite liked that, because it was more comedy of errors than a clash of personalities, I like instructional cooking shows. I like there's a Canadian version of Guy Fieri's masterpiece, Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, called You Gotta Eat Here. And I like it because the host is just really Canadian and not Guy Fieri at all. But yeah, I like instructional cooking shows, but not like... There are so many instructional cooking shows that are like, and once we're done with this, we're just going to put it in the oven. And in 45 minutes, it's going to look exactly like this one that I'm just pulling out right now. That just, I don't know, those kind of bother me. It's hard to say. It's hard to say, really. All right. No, I know. I've got it. Sorry. Anything with Alton Brown.
Oh, yeah, I do like him. Although, apparently he doesn't have the best political opinions, or, they're not ideal, I guess, but...
No, but Serious Eats was an incredible show. And a very educational show, as well.
Was that different from Good Eats, or do we...
Was it Good Eats, or, I'm sorry, there's so many fucking cooking shows on right now.
And there's 8 cooking words that they just keep.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Serious Eats is a website that I occasionally go to. But yeah, Good Eats, Alton Brown's Good Eats. I know that he's the host of Chopped in at least in America. They have a different one in Canada. And like, if you think Chopped America is bad, oh my god, oh, you've got to see Chopped Canada.
I definitely want to now.
Awful. But yeah, like, yeah, Good Eats was an amazing show.
Yeah, I think I've seen like every episode of that.
That's probably my favorite. I learned quite a lot from watching Good Eats. It's very educational. It's very easy to understand, and just he's a good presenter. I'm gonna go with that.
Yep, problematic fave.
Yeah.
Here's a question that we talked about last week, but was lost in the great Leon purging of 2017. Toshiro Kuru, Question Guru, asks, opinion on shirtless Kylo Ren.
Oh.
We went on for like 15 minutes with this, but Leon's was most of it, and it was lost to time,
okay.
So...
Yeah, basically, when that happened, I was like, look, either pull him down or pull it up, because your pants are over your navel, so it's like, what are you doing? I wasn't like thrilled with that scene, but I was basically kind of like laughing at it. How do I put this? I don't ship them, and I hate that there was a scene that made that a possibility, I guess you could say. That was my gripe. His nipples are fine, whatever. I have no problems with his nipples. I was just like, I don't want there to be a sexually tense moment between these two. I think one of them is just dirt and should die, and the other one is good. So
his nipple, in quotes, his nipples are fine. Leon Thomas, 2017.
That's good. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, so we went on a while about this, and we kind of, I feel like our views evolved over time, but where I am at currently is it was a weird choice, in that it combined kind of physical humor with what was supposed to be like a serious character building moment. I'm not sure if it was the right choice, but the work has been done, and what it has added to the universe is like Rey's facial expression, where she is torn between interest in his body and revulsion at his body, and there's just a lot going on there. I don't know how I feel about it, but her acting was carrying quite a weight through that. Yeah. Also, there was some mean language about the way he looked that, in hindsight, was harsh. He's a perfectly handsome young man. Leon, you're so mean to his nips.
I disagree. I never said anything like that. I have no idea what you're talking about.
I bet. All right. So, next question.
What do you? That's terrible, and I would never say such things.
I bet. Jade, our doctor to questions, asks, legal question: how hard can you hit someone without it being considered assault? So this is a common misconception. When you hit somebody, that's battery. The tort of battery. Assault is when you make someone reasonably fear for their safety, great bodily harm, injury, death.
Yeah. So you can get up all in someone's grill and be like, what? And it's assault.
Yeah, so if right now I said, Johnny, I'm going to crack your fucking skull open, that is conceptually assault, although no jury would ever find me liable because it is not reasonable for Johnny to be under the apprehension of that happening.
And also, it's just a truth that I've come to accept.
But both because of the distance right now, there's no reasonable belief that I'm going to actually get in a car and drive there, and also because of our pre-existing relationship having no violent history, that would not be a viable claim. There actually is a famous case where some woman was basically harassed on the phone, and the guy like threatened her life, and he was found not liable because it was the quote from the case was like, mere words alone cannot sustain an assault claim. Usually you have to back it up with like you raising your hand or pointing a gun or having a history of some kind of something that would indicate that. So assault is a kind of a judgment call. But battery is any offensive touching. So technically I could walk up and just like boop somebody on the nose, and that is conceptual battery. If they found it offensive, realistically, they wouldn't sue because they would only get a nominal damages award of $1. And legal fees would far exceed that. So even though touching somebody is battery, it's almost never pursued unless there are medical bills that you need to pay as a result, because you would lose money on that. But there is no there. In fact, the question Jade asked was, how hard can you hit someone? There's actually a doctrine called the Eggshell victim doctrine. Basically, it doesn't matter if someone is Stone Cold Steve Austin, or if they're made out of eggshells, you are liable for what happens to them. So that's the thing people like try to argue, be like, I didn't know he was that fragile. I didn't know he had a glass jaw. It's not my fault that all this happened to him. And the law says in our system, too bad. Yeah. Don't hit people. The question of how hard is, it's not about how hard. It's about, did you do it, and are there damages? That's all that really matters. So actually, I think it's a pretty good question. That's a pretty frequently misunderstood tort thing. As far as criminal, like if they're going to put you behind bars, usually assault and battery are kind of one thing. This goes by jurisdiction, so it's not universal. But usually if you like whoop somebody's ass, you'll get like charged with assault and battery because it's one thing. You're like, I'm going to whoop your ass, and then you whoop their ass. And that's different than the torts. Not super relevant. Just don't hit people is the takeaway. Is that not? Do we not know that? Are we hitting people? Stop hitting people.
In fairness, Austin, I sometimes hit people as a hobby. But conditionally speaking, they also get hit as a hobby.
Well, actually, that's a thing that's a very specific thing, which is a defense to battery is consent. Either express consent, if you say, hey, I would like it if you slap me, which is the thing that happens, or implied consent, which is we are both playing a contact sport.
So, everybody, just don't be worried if, you ever get a chance to meet me and I present you with a waiver.
Yeah, he likes to get
There's nothing
writing.
insidious in it.
Okay. I feel like we should hit some people. So, next question.
Cyretha asks, what are your New Year's resolutions? Yeah, it's about that time, boys.
Not be so depressed.
Just going to do a bunch of whippets.
Yeah. I'm going to lose a little weight. That's about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's an evergreen one, though, isn't it? Have you ever been at a point in your life where, like, no, I'm as sexy as I can be?
Yep.
Yes. Yep.
You both immediately. I barely got that sentence out.
Yeah, when I'll be honest, it's not under the best conditions. When I lived in Montenegro, my eating habits changed, and I lost a ton of weight.
When you say your eating habits changed, is that just a roundabout way of saying that you were poor?
I was poor, but also the food was it wasn't American food. It was different. It was made in a way that was not meant to make me horrible.
Not everything was full with those kind of processed sugars and stuff.
I guess. I don't know exactly what they did or did not put into their food, but whatever it was, it worked. And I didn't realize how much weight I lost because, as I mentioned before, my apartment was awful. And one of the things it did not have was a mirror. So I had no idea what I looked like. But when I came back to America, I had to stay in a hotel for a couple of days while my new apartment got ready. And I looked in the mirror. I'm like, oh, shit, I'm sexy as hell. I lost a lot of weight. Like I wasn't even like I mean I was doing crunches, but it's just like my normal thing. But I was doing crunches while I was losing all my fat. So I looked really good. I'm like, oh yeah, I lost that. That ended by just living in America for a bit. So
yeah, this episode is a Leon quote gold mine. Oh shit, yeah. I'm sexy as hell.
Yeah, bear in mind. Oh shit, I'm sexy as hell was years ago. Right now, I'm like, oh, I'm shit as hell.
So, come on, Leon. You're just getting older. Give yourself a little bit of wiggle room. All right, you're taking care of yourself. You're eating right. Okay.
I don't look bad, but man, there was a time when yeah.
We can get there.
Okay.
I can't. I had lost our entire train of thought. Johnny, did you have a New Year's resolution?
Yeah, just be less depressed.
Oh yeah, that's okay. Now I'm back.
Nah, I want to get well. I want to get over this. I want to find myself again. I want to start enjoying the things that I used to enjoy. I spend a lot of my evenings right now just distracting myself, stalking, taking photos, stealing undergarments and things like that.
Pinning string between photos.
Yeah, walking into rooms and then suddenly looking shocked as I turn the light on because somebody's been rifling through my things, and then just, yeah, it's been a bad year, and I'm allowed to know that. I'm allowed to feel that. And I just I'm ready. I'm ready for the next step, but not ready for the next step. I'm gonna eat, pray, love. But
Okay.
the next step where I'm ready to start waking up in the morning and feeling okay, because it's gone from being depressed about how I've been my situation to being depressed about being depressed. I'm feeling bad about feeling bad, and that's dumb. So I wanna ditch that. I want 2018 to be a little bit more Johnny positive. I want it to treat me. I want it. Blah, 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 blah. I want it to treat me a little nicer. Pardon me. And yeah, that's. I mean, what else am I gonna say? I want shoes.
Don't we all? You know
Actually,
what I
no.
do?
I just bought a new pair of boots, and they're fucking baller. So,
John, you strike me as someone who only buys the finest shoes. It seems like something you're very much about.
nah, actually, on regular weather days, I'm good with a pair of high top Chucks. That's it.
Don't know what any of those words mean. Here's the thing I want to
Chuck
do.
Taylor, Converse
Really?
All Stars.
You don't know what that means?
I've heard those words. I don't really know what they mean, in the
Austin's
physical
a
world.
weirdo, Leon.
Yeah, I've had Chucks.
Okay, I buy the cheapest shoe.
Okay.
In 2018, I want to do a lot more sitting on a chair in the dark, facing away from the door with a lamp. And so when the person opens the door, I can click the lamp on and swivel around to look at them.
It's good.
And
I
say, yes, I've been expecting you.
Yeah, I've been expecting you, or so it's come to this.
Oh, that's a good one.
Or yes, as the prophecy foretold.
You should have killed me when you had the chance.
Yes, all of these are exquisite. I'm gonna workshop the different lines, but I just feel like I haven't really ever experimented with that kind of
So,
foreplay, if you
it's
will.
going to be you, is it?
I knew it was you.
You could switch it up and just say, "Dinner is getting cold."
No, it has to be. Dinner is cold, because it's
okay.
got to be hours ago.
Oh, okay.
Or yeah, and so where were you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or expecting me?
Oh my God.
Oh, sorry, I'm
This
just
is
down
great.
this rabbit hole now.
That's fine.
Kept you waiting, huh?
Mm-hmm.
God,
I called
hate
the
that.
Jeffersons. They said, no, I called the Jeffersons. They said, Sally said she was sleeping over at our house.
Okay.
This has become a domestic nightmare right now. It's like this is way in my mind. That's way worse than a murder.
In all truthfulness, guys, if the title for the podcast wasn't going to be Word Funk, my next was going to be Domestic Nightmare.
Okay.
So I'm gonna
That's definitely the title this week then.
Okay, so I swivel around. I have a snifter of brandy. Only some of those words I understand. And I'm swirling it. And I say, I think God's gonna sit this one out.
Okay.
All right. I think
the
One more?
board approves your proposal, Austin.
Thank you.
Workshop it and come back to us with some blueprints.
Okay. I think
All
we're about out of time. Brightmarsh did ask about our Porg opinions. Did you leave that in the last episode, or do we need to restate?
I don't even remember. I remember that I liked the Porgs. They were fun and they were cute. So I'm good with that. I'm a little disappointed that was all Chewbacca did, but like Chewbacca always gets like the shaft. Like he's always like around and people love him, but he never has like big dramatic moments because we don't know what he's saying, and they refuse to give him subtitles because that would ruin Chewbacca, I guess.
I think in some of the novels he got like character arcs and development and stuff.
I really liked something that we talked about. I don't think it would have made it into the cut podcast, the studio version, pardon me, from last week, was the story behind the Porgs.
Yeah, that they were CGI'd over endangered
the birds on the island, that they couldn't fucking get rid of them, so they were like, I guess we need to invent some things.
Right. I thought that was apocryphal, but like we're all okay just believing it.
I like the story. It warms my cuticles.
Much like us dragging Papa John into the town square and guillotining him. It's true as far as I'm concerned.
Are you not entertained?
Yeah. The Porgs were perfectly good and harmless. They didn't affect my enjoyment in any negative way, and I think anyone who would be upset about them maybe needs to take a moment and just kind of like assess their whole situation. Maybe think about some stuff. They're fine. I like them. All right. We did an episode.
Yep. Anything you guys want to say before we go?
This is usually the part where Johnny's funny.
You know, like Austin, I've been looking around sort of casually trying to find like Alton Brown, and apparently in 2014, in an interview in Time, he was like, "Can't do Southern Baptist Convention's views on homosexuality," so he's like, "Gotta find a new belief system." So I'm hoping that's okay.
Yeah, I never thought he was like evil or anything. I just heard he had some problematic views. So
no, I just want to feel good about Alton Brown.
It's not. You got to find the little bits of joy you can when you can, and just grasp onto them tightly.
Yeah.
I started watching a new YouTube series. It's very short. It's only like 10 episodes. It's called Zach Morris is Trash. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It just briefly recaps an episode to explain why he's just kind of a monster and he like gaslights his friends and manipulates people. So yeah, I like it. That's it. It's not a big deal, but I think people would enjoy it. It's very easy to get through too. That's it. I'm done. I have nothing more this week. I actually had tons more, but like I can't possibly fit it into like a minute that we have.
Do you want an opportunity to plug your big thing? Because Matthew Hare asks, Leon, what's the most difficult part of your work on that Left Behind movie?
The research that took like a year. The writing, it was also hard. The editing is going fine. I bought a lot of stock footage to help me get through, so I just don't keep showing the same scenes from the movie over and over again, because I need to deviate from the movies to actually talk about like important stuff.
How many angles do you have on the cross?
Dude, like you will not believe how much Jesus is in this thing. So yeah, it's there's a lot of stuff. It is visually I would say stronger than an episode, like a regular episode of Renegade Cut, just because there's you know what? Sorry, I'm deviating from the question. What was the question? What was the hardest part? Research. Just the research was hard. It took a hell of a long time to understand how the Bible works. It's more complicated than just here are the chapters. It's like there's so much, and I still feel like, even though I feel like I know a lot more than the average person about it, I also feel like I barely scratched the surface, because I'm just learning more and more about this stuff as it goes on, and it's just so fucking weird. So that's it. The Bible, fucking weird, says Leon Thomas. That's it. I hate that that's the end of the show.
It doesn't have to be.
Yeah, I mean, can someone say something that's more uplifting than that, please?
I mean, I'm really sleepy, so I'm gonna go become a Mormon.
That is, probably the right relative step.
Bye, nerds.
Yeah, they have fun underwear.